Hello, friends. Once again, I hope that you've had a good week. I've had, in some ways, a particularly happy week, a full week. There have been opportunities to be with friends who are very special to me and to us, and who are very important in my life. And I had a chance encounter with someone I haven't seen in years, and we were able to connect briefly but deeply. And not only with that particular person, there have been a couple of other occasions where we've been able to talk at a deeper level, and that's always a privilege. It doesn't happen that often, and sometimes when we connect at that deeper level, it's unexpected, it's refreshing. A lot of the time, our conversations seem fairly ordinary, and that's the way it's meant to be. But it makes such a difference and is so emotionally satisfying when we are able to go beyond the surface and really discover a bit more about each other and what is going on in our hearts as well as our minds. And so I thank you again for adding joy and meaning to my life. Today, the focus is on one of my favorite verses in the whole of the scriptures, Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, beloved, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence and if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. The key words in that verse are aletheia, true, semna, which means venerable, dikaia, which means to be right, agna, which means pure, prosphile, which means to be lovely, euphema, which means admirable, aratai, which means excellence, epainos, which means praise. And the exhortation is to think on these things, as opposed to thinking about things that are trivial, things that have no lasting value, and as opposed to things that are disturbing and increase a spirit of restlessness and unease. Paul lists virtues that reflect secular Greek values and are appropriate for people of the Christian faith, and of course appropriate for people generally. Paul seems to be saying, look at the best values of your culture, reflect on those values, adapt them to your life, and let them be part of who you are. As we focus on these qualities, we might associate them with a particular person whom we know, or with a particular thing, or experience, or event, or fact. They might be things that we see, or things that we read, or people that we know, or things that happen just in the ordinary course of our life experience. And we are being encouraged by Paul to really reflect on these things. The Greek word means not just think about these things fleetingly, but to engage with them, to ponder them, to mull over them, to meditate on them, to reflect on them. And so here's the list of values or virtues. Whatever is true, and that means whatever is genuine, whatever is real and sincere and dependable and reliable. And whatever is true is, of course, opposed to whatever is false. So think about whatever is true. Secondly, think about whatever is venerable or honorable, noble, perhaps showing great wisdom. Thirdly, think about whatever is right, whatever is righteous, whatever is just, whatever has integrity, or whoever has integrity, something or someone who reflects fairness and honesty. Then think about whatever is pure, and pure, of course, means holy and uncorrupt and undefiled. Then think about whatever is lovely or pleasing or dearly loved. Then think about whatever is admirable or of good report, having a good reputation. Next, think about whatever is excellent, whatever has virtue. Then think about whatever is deserving of praise. As I said, the Greek word for think about is the word logizomai, which means to think, but in a deeper way than simply briefly reflecting. It includes reasoning and analyzing and making judgments about what is useful. So I love that verse, and I find it really helpful to encourage us to think about these things that are good and that will lift us up, that will inspire us, and that will make us feel a lot more positive about life and about society and the world we live in. So I was thinking that it might be a really useful exercise, a prayer exercise to use on a regular basis. During the past 24 hours, has anything or anyone struck me in a new way as being true, as being genuine, as being sincere? Have I encountered any really honorable or noble sentiments or action? Perhaps something or someone has struck me as having great wisdom. Have I been aware of someone's integrity, someone that I have encountered? Is there someone who seems to be especially fair and honest in their dealings with other people and in their relationships? Have I experienced anything that seemed beautifully pure and undefiled? Then who would I classify, or what would I classify as lovely? And what have I experienced that has been lovely? What have I seen that has been lovely? Who have I had an encounter with, perhaps recently, who I regard as being lovely? And why do I regard that thing or that person as lovely? What has caused me to be filled with admiration? Who do I admire and why? What has been excellent and deserving of a top rating? What achievement, what behavior, what gesture, what has been excellent? And what or who has been worthy of praise? and why. And this might be a very rewarding exercise. Sometimes wonderful things happen, beautiful scenes appear before us, and lovely people cross our paths, and something we hear strikes us as being really interesting and maybe profound and even occasionally revelatory. But if we don't stop to reflect, then we that is gone without it really having the potential to inspire us and to perhaps make a difference to who we are. And that is so important in our lives, that we are changing, and that what we see, what we experience, influences us. If we believe that what we see and what we experience affects who we are and who we become, then we could miss out on so much if we don't consciously and deliberately focus, reflect, concentrate. Now, I'm about to change some of those values or virtues that appear in that list in Philippians chapter 4. I'm going to suggest a way of using each of these as a focus for our weekly prayer and reflection each day. And it doesn't have to be a long and complicated process, but we might want to use one of these qualities or values on a particular day during the week and reflect on that specifically. So what I've done is I've produced a list of 7 values or virtues, and I'm suggesting that we concentrate on one of those each day during the next week. And doing this regularly might help us to notice and be inspired by and benefit from observing what is good and what is positive in people and in the world around us, to make us aware of what is really life-affirming and what we admire and what inspires us. It might help us to be a bit more balanced if we are negative a lot of the time, or we are conscious of so much that's negative a lot of the time. It might help us to be a bit more balanced if we are full of anxiety or fear, if we are able to focus on what is good and what is inspiring. So today, Sunday, let's start with what is beautiful, what is lovely, what is pleasing to me today. What or who is dearly loved? And on Monday, the question might be, what strikes me as being profoundly true? Perhaps something that I have read in the past week? Or the question might be, who seems to me to be utterly genuine and sincere and dependable and reliable? That's Monday. Tuesday, what or who do I regard as having great wisdom? Who particularly is deserving of honor and respect, and why? And on Wednesday, what has happened that has moved me or touched me deeply during the past week? Why? Think of something recent and something which perhaps took you to a deeper level, even if only momentarily, something, some opportunity you had to really connect with someone, or something you read that really resonated with you and affected you. Thursday, what has inspired and encouraged me? What have I experienced that has been really uplifting? Have I found something really interesting or thought-provoking? On Friday, what or who do I regard as excellent or admirable, worthy of praise or commendation? And finally, Saturday, is there someone that I regard as generous and gracious? Someone who perhaps I consider as having gone beyond the call of duty, or regularly going beyond the call of duty. Somebody who's sacrificial with their time and their energy and their resources, or one of them. And obviously, it would be helpful if we spent a few minutes thinking about this particular virtue or particular question for that particular day. And then we might want to conclude our time of reflection, a brief time of reflection, with a simple prayer, bringing the subject of our reflection on that particular day before God with thanksgiving. So it might be a couple of people that have come into your mind. It might be a couple of things that have happened. And then just conclude the time of reflection on that day by offering up a simple prayer, thanking God for the gift of whatever it is or whoever it is that has gifted you in that particular way. Occasionally, we might want to express our feelings regarding a particular experience or a particular person to someone else, to the person concerned, maybe. We might want to tell someone who has sprung to mind in a short, simple message how much we appreciate them and why. And the aim of this is not to turn us into a gushy bunch, wearing our hearts on our sleeves always, but this is intended to be a conscious and deliberate exercise aiming to make us more aware of what is good and more easily able to express what stirs and elevates us, because hopefully we'll be more in touch with what stirs and elevates us. What I'll do is I'll put this sort of Sunday to Saturday exercise, the different questions which I'm suggesting for each day, into a WhatsApp, and I'll send that to you. I'll give you a little bit of time to perhaps listen to this message, and then I will put the questions into a WhatsApp, so that you, if you like, you'll be able to use it. And please remember, feedback is always good. I simply wanting to know if what I'm suggesting is helpful, and if it works for you, it would be good to be able to share about our experiences. Finally, my beloved friends, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, if anything is excellent, if anything is worthy of praise, let's dwell on these things, not ignoring the ugly and the false and the negative, but making sure that we are shaped by the right stuff. God be with you. Amen.